Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to yet another episode of Top Tier Talk. And unfortunately, we are stuck in the international break still. But congratulations to the team that have qualified so far. You two got any predictions for the upcoming tournament next year? Or
Yeah, I do. Probably France win. Can't even lie to you.
That easy.
a bit of English confidence to start the episode? I'd say it's between us and France.
Well, every time.
Gosh, first way. No, okay.
No. Tell me why you think it's England this time. What's different this time from last time, or all the
Jude
previous
Bellingham.
times?
Southgate's last hurrah, hopefully.
Jude Bellingham, probably.
I say it every time England play. I hate watching England, but I don't know. We seem to be a bit more developed, I suppose, than I know. Obviously, we lost to France in the World Cup, and no one was beating the Argentina team in the final. That was just their day. Everything fell for them, and Messi was his very best of his ability that he's ever been. It was just his day, his game. But obviously, Argentina aren't in Europe, so they won't be participating in the Euros. Which,
To be
yeah,
fair though, we're gonna go straight into the game. I'm obviously Australia game. I didn't watch it, but we won. But the Italy game, I want to focus on. Is it that like impressive to beat Italy these days? Because Italy didn't qualify for the World Cup. They're third in the group as well, behind Ukraine as well. A team that should be in every single tournament based on just the stature of the country. Won 4 World Cups. Is it that impressive? Would you say to beat them?
I don't think it's a case of it's the whole argument every time, whether it's against Italy, who we beat, was it 2-1 last time, and obviously 3-1 yesterday, or a case of us playing Malta or North Macedonia and beating them 7-0. But that's, can you see it like, that's what I was going to say. It's, you can only beat who's in front of you, but at least we've got some sort of competition, whereas before, no disrespect to them, obviously, but wherever it's your Poland or your San Marino. We drew to Ukraine, I think. Was that was 1-0? That was a lucky escape from our side.
Yeah.
But you can only beat who's been put in your group, and obviously it's seeded. It's not seeded. It's just like grouped, isn't it, for qualifying? I think so. But we've done our job. We've qualified. So
As we always do, yeah.
yeah, it's, well, you say always, but yeah, it's, we can only beat, as I said, who's in our group. There's no complaints. So hopefully we can carry on the form, I suppose.
In terms of the game, if we're going to go straight into, obviously, big shout out to Jude Bellingham and his performance. That guy is tearing up. Probably the best player in the world right now. Right this second. I don't think you guys can argue with. Right this second, he is on form.
Yeah, I'm using my logic. Yeah, true.
I'm doing a you.
You could say Mitrovic. Mitrovic bagged 2 yesterday, so he's doing well.
It's not Mitrovic. Jude Bellingham scored like 10 games from midfield.
Yeah, I was going to say with Bellingham, he's kind of now, he's making the difference between, he's going to be a world-class player, but some world-class players, they don't end up in like, the Ballon d'Or nominations every year. I think this guy, he's going to be in that, like for the next, obviously if he gets injured, then it's terrible, but next 7, 8, 9 years, it's just always going to be Bellingham. He's going to be like, who would be like that player? It would be like an Iniesta, Xavi, where they're just always in that FIFA Pro 11 team.
Just a constant.
He's going to be that, isn't he? You can just tell. Yeah, consistent.
I think it's also, I was going to say, it's also, I know everyone's ranting around about Jude Bellingham, but it's also the change from having whatever midfield we had at the Euros, whether it was Calvin Phillips coming on. I know Bellingham was in the squad and wasn't really utilised, but that was also, we're talking like a fair chunk of time ago. But now he's actually, that's what I'm saying. Now he's, as I'm saying, in the short space of time, we've got a completely different look midfield.
Jordan Henderson should not be in there. I don't agree with him being booed because he's not going to get selected, but
no one's going to turn down an England.
Yeah, exactly. Who's ever going to turn it down? Like Wayne Rooney came back for a USA game when he was like 35. Like we didn't boo him, did we? Everyone was clapping him. So don't understand the Jordan Henderson booing stuff because he's one of our own, isn't he? But it's down to Southgate who should be booed for picking him because that's obviously it's not his fault. In terms of the game as well, Harry Kane, fantastic, scored the penalty. Obviously no pressure penalty. He would obviously back that.
Second goal was in class.
Yeah, the touch around, obviously it was crap defending, the defender committed, but it was still a lot of skill from him and pace and a fantastic finish against Donnarumma as well. And Rashford as well, Shivers. Rashford had a good game as well, very positive, scored a goal. Hopefully he doesn't obviously translate that to Manchester United, but yeah.
I think that's
nice to see him running at defenders. I saw his goal. He made the right decision, but that's one right decision amongst disappeared. I was going to say with Scotland, they got kind of done dirty in that Spain game. They did take the lead. That would have actually been quite big considering first and second in the Euros. Is it that you get automatic qualification for first and second? Or
First and second,
how does
yeah.
it
And
work?
then I think it's first and second in all of the groups because there's some groups with 6, and I think the other ones are through Nations League as you can qualify. Which is
So
which
even
is
to be, yeah, they deserve to win that game. To be honest, they made the breakthrough. Obviously, once that goal didn't get given, it just takes the wind out the sails, and they lost to Spain. Then they took the lead against France as well. So Scotland are probably, I think, the best team when it comes to the United Kingdom. I would say more. I would have more trust in Scotland to get a result in a big game. No, I would generally have more trust in Scotland to get a result in a big game than England against any of the other European giants. Scotland look like they have that X factor in them, which is not something you would associate with Scotland, and they somehow have it now. I mean, there was a time where it was disarray. It was Wales and England entering every
Got a couple
sort of big
youngsters,
competition. Yeah, they're coming through. They've got some experience, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they actually fare in the Euros. We will see.
So was that you saying that Scotland are going to get further than England in the tournament?
Sure. It's
not
that
uncommon. I mean, do you remember 2016?
Ireland went ahead of
went out to Iceland,
England.
and then Ireland.
Wales got was it semis as well?
Wales were semis, yeah. It's not that outlandish.
It's not uncommon. Yeah,
saying like England are some giants.
They are, but
yeah, we are. But exactly, we just put gentle giants.
Giants of not winning.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
But
what makes you different to Scotland in the last 30 years? Or last, let's say, 50 years?
We're going to have the same discussion again,
achieved?
and I got to a final, and you went, but you might as well lose in the first game.
Getting to a World Cup for a country
but we can.
an achievement.
But yeah, whereas this, not that we win stuff, but it's, and again, this would I'll touch on why I hate England and everything else as a footballing nation. It's
I don't hate it that much.
No, I enjoy. Yeah, I'm wearing a shirt right now. I am, but okay, here we go. It's. You get every so often, obviously, players don't live up to hype, whether it's injuries or whatever else. For example, the Dele Alli situation. But you look at that and you go, it's always the media, and then there's always the fans and hyping up players. It's the same every time round. Like whether it's Euro 2016 with Iceland or 2014 in Brazil finishing bottom of that group, or like it's consistent. Obviously, the only
would
time.
You not say? In the last sort of with the talent on hand, the talent that Scotland have versus the talent that England have. England won the World Cup 56 years ago. I just had to search it up. In the last 55 years, would you say that Scotland have done better for what they have versus what England have done for what they have?
Scotland have in terms of that, but it's
they have. Scotland have had a more successful 55 years than England.
Apart from, I think they did qualify in like the 80s or 70s or something. I remember. They did qualify for World Cups. No, obviously not.
No, but the class. I'm saying in terms of the talent that you have on hand.
If you're basing it on
outdone England, yeah.
If you're basing it on what success should be, and this isn't. I hope they get knocked out in the groups. I'm not going to lie, but it's if you're basing it on what success should be. We discuss it about Premier League teams all the time. If Nottingham Forest stay up and Chelsea finish second, who's had the better season in terms of like aligned success? It's Forest for staying up.
But neither teams had success. How could you say Scotland's had success? Scotland's success is
based on what they should have.
Based on what Scotland have, the talent they have. Scotland have actually achieved more than what England
have achieved. That's more than England. What is their
Scotland shouldn't achieve anything, but England should have achieved much
their
more with what they
achievement
had.
would be getting to the tournament. That is an achievement, I think.
And they've done that, right?
Yeah, this time, yeah.
It is a rarity.
Is it their first time in 55 years?
But not in the World Cup. I don't remember them in the World Cup as long as I've been alive.
Really?
I don't. Yeah, but that's in terms of, I suppose, we've had big moments of failure. As you touched on, Scotland in our lifetime. You look at us in our lifetime, ignoring the final because we had this argument before of us getting to the final.
You know what? I'm going to rephrase this completely.
Us not qualifying for tournaments is a massive failure for England. Whereas Scotland have got no room for failure in terms of if they win no games for qualifying. That's changed over the last since probably the Euro 2020 qualifying when they qualified. But in terms of that, there's gulfs in as you touched on with success.
Hear me out. Okay, England won the World Cup in 1966. That was 56 years ago. In the last 55 years, Scotland qualifying for the World Cup 5 times from 1974 to 1990 is a bigger achievement than what England have done. With what the talent on hand is for both nations.
Their achievement is the bare minimum, though. Their best achievement is what England is expected to do. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well,
like-
with what is on hand, Scotland have qualified 5 times in the last 55 years is a bigger achievement than what England have on hand, which is they've achieved nothing. With relative
But
to
yeah,
what we
if you
have.
want to
He
do it like
sound-
that, because
he sounds like one of them-
different
Yeah.
levels of achievement though. So I don't look at that in like face value and stuff. So
But he sounds like one of them 11-year-olds on football Twitter going, "Oh, there's levels to this game," and this is exactly what he's trying to sound like.
Dan,
But-
you support a smaller
but-
club. You appreciate this. Like there's different
Well, yeah,
expectations.
that's
for
what I
different
said.
Level. If Scotland had England's squad, then obviously I'm going to be
Yeah.
speaking.
yeah, but if you want
differently about them,
to dumb down England's success, then
Well,
We'll
the
do-
final was technically because it's not just England. It's always we're not the biggest team or nation or nation for sake of an argument
what are
in
the biggest
Europe.
expectations for a nation?
Well, yeah, but you look at Euro 2020. Spain weren't the same. Germany aren't the same Germany as they were at the World Cup and stuff like that. Obviously, in the last sort of decade, but.
Would you not say, with the talent on hand, should England not be winning a World Cup at least for every 5 times Scotland qualify for the World Cup?
Now
5
with
times,
this,
no chance. No.
So for every 5 Scotland qualifications, the equivalent should
I
for
think
England be at
England
least a World
since
Cup
Chavez,
win.
go and have a look at how many.
Since 1966, I think England could have won a World Cup. Not even like the favourites, or could have won, is 1986 when they got to the semis, and obviously the hand of God. Probably in the golden generation, and maybe this generation. I'd say 3 times, maybe potentially could have won it.
This now, as you put it, will be a failure if we don't win anything. I'm sure England fans they don't care about it. They'd take a Nations League. I would.
Yeah, it counts.
Domestic trophy, or not domestic trophy. Sorry,
No, Mudryk scored a banger, so he's going to score a banger hopefully in the Premier League.
You see what Zinchenko said? He was like, best not continue to score in form. And he scored against Malta.
Yeah.
My next question was, because 2 players that are really popping up to me now are Bellingham and Musiala, just obviously different types of players, but both looking like they're going to be really successful. Who do you think is going to have a better career if both were to stay injury-free relatively? Making you think.
Bellingham.
I think Bellingham's a better player.
Okay, tell me why. That's the next question.
I haven't seen heaps of Musiala, but from what I've seen from Bellingham, he just looks
Bellingham
a complete player already.
Box-to-box midfielder, you don't expect as much to score, and he looks like he's got that goal scoring instinct in him. Like 10 goals, and is it 10 goals in his last 10 games or whatever? Is absolutely ridiculous for an 8. And I think that's his position, isn't he? He's an 8. He's not an attack. He's not a 10. He's not a centre forward, but yeah, I think Bellingham.
But if we go back to Rashford's goal against Italy, the ball came over to him, and his pace to get to the ball first, and him to see Rashford on the outside. I know it was a simple pass, but quite a lot of players would just take another 3 steps and shoot.
It's true. It would shoot. It's selfless.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his. He won the penalty as well. It was his instinct to take the extra touch to take away from the defender to cause the penalty.
And the fact that also he carried on his run. He gave Rashford the ball and run across the defenders. So I think as you said, he won the penalty and made Rashford's goal. I think.
Yeah, so the whole game. Shall we move on to the Premier League preview?
Yep.
We've obviously got I think the biggest game probably of this weekend is Chelsea Arsenal on Saturday 5:30. What's your guys' thoughts? I think Reece James is injured again for us, so we'll have a setback. But we've got Malo Gusto.
Lavia's out. Big miss.
Lavia's always been out. Chukwuemeka's still out. I think he's had another setback. Same with Trevor Chalobah. What do you guys think of Chelsea's chances? Obviously, it's a derby. You can never count anyone out, but
you haven't played well recently. Nah, yeah, it is at Stamford Bridge.
Is it the Bridge?
Yes, at the Bridge. I don't think you've played that well against Arsenal recently, or am I just?
No, you're right. They did the double over us last season, and the year before was I think it was during COVID or something, when Saka over Mendy and all that stuff. Yeah. They have got the better of us the last few, and obviously the Martinelli draw win for them when he got the 2-2, and apparently, you know what I mean? They celebrated a draw like a win, like the club they are. So yeah. And
would you say that's just completely off the topic? Would you say that's Martinelli's biggest moment in his career when he won?
Probably when Kante slipped. Kante slipped. Didn't even go around Kante. He was just running in a straight line.
Yeah, I'd say it's the biggest win I've ever seen that wasn't a win in terms of how it was treated. If you look back on history, yeah.
Touching back. You talk about club football. I was going to touch back on England. That's Scotland 0-0 at the Euros.
Oh, that was the biggest Scotland win of all time.
That's
a good question for the viewers. Like, what is a bigger win that actually was a draw, but it turned out to be a win for the other team? I would actually say the Martinelli.
I still see that clip on my feed all the time. Every now and then.
Edits with like the flashing lights and the edits of him just running in a straight line like Roadrunner.
Yeah.
He ran a straight line, and probably is Martin. Probably will put him on the map, really. I'd say.
I was going to say, you touched on the 5:30 kickoff, Chelsea Arsenal. The 12:30 kickoff, the Merseyside derby.
Oh,
can we see anything apart from Liverpool win?
Anfield?
Or is, it's Anfield, yeah.
Oh god,
an Everton masterclass.
Who's the Everton manager again?
Dyche.
Still Dyche.
Yeah. This is the moment where Sean Dyche gets sacked. I can see him. Next time we record, Sean Dyche will not be an Everton manager once he loses 7-0 to.
Do you reckon it's going to be a hammering?
Yeah. I also think there's a very good chance that Poch could go this weekend as well. If it turns really ugly, where if, for example, a 4-0 or a 5-0 at Stamford Bridge.
We've just come back. We're on a 3-game winning streak.
But no, a 5-0 to rivals at home can do a lot of things.
I'm going to lose 5-0 to bloody Arsenal.
Okay, Chavez, you've got
famous last words.
You've got Sheffield United away, and I'll ask you this question every week until he does get sacked. Sheffield are, I believe, they are yet to win a game. If they win their first game, it's sacked.
Oh, that would be very big, nail in the coffin losing to them. But who knows? It might be a new Sheffield United. I did say there are not many teams that were worse than us in the league, but the two teams I've consistently said that we've played better than this season, hand on heart, I think Man United have played better than Luton and Sheffield United, regardless of how shit we've been. So if we were to lose to Sheffield United, then God helped Eric Ten Hag. I don't know what would happen then, but I don't know where we are in that case if we do lose that. But on a realistic level, I think Amrabat's injured. I've heard some news about that. Don't know how serious that is. Højlund was targeted by the mighty San Marino yesterday. That wasn't fun to watch. He was taken off as a precaution, I hope he's back. I think if Højlund and Amrabat, Højlund especially, were not to play, then Sheffield United, they can do a job. They're not the worst. Okay, they are the worst team because they're lost in the Premier League, but anything can happen when you're at home.
They nearly beat Spurs.
You've seen it happen. Cardiff City beat Man City one time, newly promoted 3-1, Fraser Campbell. Things like this happen where a team gets promoted and they get their opening win. And a lot of times we have been the club to hand that out. So who knows? I would not put it past. Would you be shocked if United lost? No.
I think that's more than Man United. We wouldn't be shocked that Man United lost yet another game as opposed to Sheffield winning a game. I think
we're so used to it.
I didn't know the San Marino as a country were Sheffield United fans for targeting Højlund that much. They obviously want to try and get a win there, don't they?
Yeah.
So
they almost did. They were drawing at one point right at the end. Yeah.
You've also got the Champions League tie, probably your biggest Champions League tie. You must win, in my opinion, against Copenhagen if you want to. At least
I think even mathematically, if we lose, I don't know what the maths is there, but it's almost impossible.
But it's like, then you got to think, what's the point of you guys even being in the chat? Like you have so much pedigree as a club in the Champions League, like. Just you're watching the
Beckham
documentary in the '99 team and all the spirit there, and it's like, what has happened to your club, really?
It's literally what we used to complain about Arsenal being like that they were just there as a number. If we lose against Copenhagen, that's 3 losses on the bounce. We are a number in the Premier League, Champions League. That's beyond embarrassing. There should be some people sacked from the club if things like that were to develop. I really hope John Murtough is sacked in the next 2 weeks. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe is genuinely coming through as a 25% of Man United, then
you guys are trying to get what's his face as your director. It's Paul something, isn't it? Paul.
Yeah, I know. I've heard of him.
I think he was in the French club at one point as well. He's quite well.
He's quite good from what I've heard, but I don't know anything about. I don't know how to judge a director of football. What I need to look up, clips on YouTube. That's this generation's issue. Can I find comps of him directing football?
You've brought him up as well. Obviously, is he Qatari or Saudi owner? Is obviously pulled out now because he offer one more.
He offered everything we want. I think he offered 7 billion in cash,
wasn't it? Yeah,
up front, and they rejected that. So if the Glazers are going to reject that, by the way,
was it the ownership?
No, I think it's smart. It brought up our actual share percentage, whatever you call it, share price for these months. There was interest in Man United. Like I think it must have benefited them in some way, just parading the club around like that, and then only to give it to a man who I don't know how old he is, but he's God bless him, he's going to die soon. Like he's older. He's older. So for him
Where's
to
that
get
come from, man?
no, he's 70 plus. Why are we giving a
Oh,
contract? Why are we giving an ownership, a gradual ownership to an owner who, his life isn't that long. He's not got 50 years
or
left.
maybe his son,
Then
or he's got a offspring that could take over after. I don't know. Take over the
I want
family.
to meet his offspring, not in a weird way, but like we haven't even heard about his offspring. It's just him. It's just Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos that we've heard about.
He wanted
But yeah,
Chelsea as well. He's been wanting when he didn't get Chelsea, so he's obviously moved to Manchester
shame.
What
United.
was
We're a mess, top to bottom.
was it the Qataris were looking at Spurs? I read, or was that just I didn't read into it. I don't know if
West
you.
Ham, they're gonna get a club at some point, aren't
They
they?
will, yeah. If they have 7 billion cash on hand, they can get anyone they want.
Any
If you are
club.
watching, there is a small club just outside of London playing yellow. I wouldn't mind a cash investment there if anyone's watching this.
You could be getting relegated to League One very
Yeah,
soon.
League One football
Yeah.
Qatari owners.
If you want a
Brilliant.
League One investment.
Yeah.
The only way is up, I suppose. Could go down.
I mean, if I was to pick a club that I'd like to be taken over by them, if it's not us, not that I want that to ever happen, it will actually be quite painful. I think the club that you'd want to see just progress now, West Ham. I don't know what your owners are like, but it would be interesting because West Ham have a foundation. They give me that like feeling of Newcastle type where they can go to the top, and there's some history there, so it'd be nice to see.
Of course. And then going on from there, I saw yesterday in international game, Neymar may have ruptured his ACL. I think that's another talking point. And at 30 years old, that could be very, very long lasting injury for him. What do you guys think if this is the end of Neymar? Would he have lived up to the heights that we all expected at Santos, or do you think this is going to be a very underwhelming career for him? Because obviously you guys know my opinions and we can obviously discuss it, but sad news for him because I do like Neymar and I wish
you like Neymar.
I love Neymar. I did. I love.
But you love him so much that he's not in the top 10 Brazilians of all time.
No, he's not. He'll never be. And the PSG move, I think, really crapped on his career.
Yeah,
but
that was stupid.
But no, I think obviously with his move to the Farmers League, for use of a better phrase, if he obviously does recover or to an extent can use his legs to a footballing standard, I think he should be able to get a little while out of football still, because obviously the quality with it not being as good, that's a possibility.
But have we ever seen a player like that big, superstar wise, have an ACL injury like that? Obviously, we've had good players before, but he's like world beater level, weren't he? Or could have been. But we never saw Messi or Ronaldo get something like that, or Mbappe or Haaland touch would haven't either. So
Robin had quite a lot of injuries.
Robin was injury prone. You're right, yeah.
But no, in terms of your other question as well, which I've actually forgotten what I was going to say. So, Chavez, what are your thoughts on him continuing after his injury?
Career-wise,
I think he's seen the highest of highs in terms of club football. He's won the Champions League, right? But I think to leave a player not be top 10 or whatever just because he couldn't get World Cup is not some easy thing. If Neymar was in one of these older 11s, Neymar would have been like he would have won it easily. He would have been a big part of it. He wouldn't just have been there as a number on the team. I think it's unfair to then say that Neymar's career was underwhelming, but it's one of those where same as Pogba, the moment Neymar started out his career, just of how you could see how good he was and how much potential he had, he was doomed from the start. Where the talent, the ceiling was so high that it would have been so hard to live up to, because straight up Neymar was. From the very start, people were saying he's third behind Messi and Ronaldo. And the moment you get put there, you have to really be good. And yeah, injuries have destroyed his career. I think one bad decision going to PSG, and together, that's the end of him. I still think he's the third best player of this generation, though.
I don't agree with that, but I see he's probably top 10, but definitely not third for me. I think Suarez takes that, and Iniesta are definitely in that top 5. Anything else football wise for us to talk about, guys? Obviously we got the betting stuff in Italy. I know who's the player that got the 7-month
Paglioli.
Obviously Tonali has, and a couple others.
I mean,
Do you think
I'd be very sad if I was a Juve fan. Fagioli out for gambling, Pogba for testosterone. They're
Pris-
just
they are the new
falling like
Prison FC.
flies.
Prison FC.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on there. Imagine supporting a club that just suddenly loses two players for the most dodgiest reason. And now Newcastle, who Tonali just looks so brilliant. I mean, I saw some stat about Tonali. He was like the fastest player in the Champions League for like one weekend. I didn't even know he could be that quick. He is. He's clearly settled in quite well, and suddenly you lose a player like that. I'm very experienced in that sense. I've seen many players go for no reason related to football. Greenwood, Anthony, two to name. It's just so stupid, and it's just you wake up one day and there's a story in it. That's it. You're like, this guy's
we'll
never
have
going to play
more
again.
players in the Prem coming out? Because I don't think Tony will be the first and won't be the last, but do you think there'll be more players slowly as they do their investigations coming out?
Who knows? Maybe. I mean, this Tonali one, people actually questioned it before it even came about. I think there was a few dodgy yellow cards here and there. I think this only proves one thing, though, with gambling, how people sometimes say, oh, like, they've got all the money in the world. How can they even have this addiction? It's a genuine addiction. Like, people have it. And this is perfect proof of why it exists. Because why would anyone in their right mind, with the thousands they have, be in this situation? It just proves it's generally just an addiction. And something that these guys actually need, like, work and help from the club, whatever. So I hope that the months they spend away from football, they actually do learn not to do it again. But again, this is from someone who doesn't do it myself, so I don't know the struggles. But yeah, it just proves it. It proves that it's not just
a very big one who's obviously been quite open about it. It says the rush, isn't it, when they win, and then obviously when they lose it, they try all they can to get it back, don't they? So
I think there was a thing. I think it was on Channel 4. It was about like slightly different, but obviously as you would like clubs doing stuff, and I think there was a lot of mental health charities and stuff was working with youth players, obviously, after they're released, if they're 13, 14, 15-year-old kids and their dreams to play football, and then they're released and then they've just did their whole world shattered. So sort of, they need to do another initiative for, whether it's for gambling or whether it's for different things
it just
that go
needs
on
to
in
include
life.
everything.
Yeah, like
literally everything,
a
because you've
specific
seen
thing
what the
for
footballers
umbrellas.
do. Yeah. They just need some form of education. Footballers, there needs to be some sort of course that they have when they're 16, 17, 18 and earning that much money. It's so easy to go down the wrong route of life. I mean, we all sit here and say this XYZ. Why did this player do this? Why did this player do that? Why did they get into this scandal? But when you get given £100,000 tomorrow, not everyone is going to have the structural family support to be able to use that money in the right way. And if you don't have that, if you don't have people around you that tell you how it is, and everyone just suddenly becomes a yes man around you, which naturally will happen when you have all that money, then clearly you will go down that route of life. So not everyone's going to have that structural support, and that's why they need to do something for footballers, especially at that real like 17 to 20 age, because or else you'll see more cases of this, just footballers abusing their power. And as much as you can blame the individual, which I'm not obviously saying that it's not their fault, it's also something that needs to be prevented and will carry on happening if it's not prevented at a systematic level.
Yeah, I think that sums it up for this week, I suppose. As we've touched on before, league football is back this weekend after an international break. Thank you very much for watching, and until next week, goodbye.